Hi. It's been a minute. I don't even know how long it's been, but today is the best I've felt since my last upload, which was, I don't know, at this point feels like a month ago, but it could be shorter, maybe 3 weeks. Just to give you some updates as to how my life has been in the past 3 weeks for anyone who cares. For the most part, I really do feel like I'm talking to myself, which doesn't offend me at all. I really do use these videos as a means to checking in with myself, hearing myself speak out loud, and listen to the things that are on my mind. And I really need to start that practice up again on a more routine basis. So why haven't I been uploading for the past 3 weeks-ish? Well, the truth is, I pooped out. I think maybe I burned myself out. I got overwhelmed. I felt like I was in a constant state of failing. First it was the diet, and once I cracked that one day of binge eating, overeating, not going with the plan, it was just kind of I felt it was very difficult to fall back in line. It wasn't just one day, it was weeks. It was weeks of not watching what I was eating. You could call it a diet break, but the truth of the matter is it was not scheduled, it was not planned. And even when a person does a strategic diet break, the amount of calories that they're eating is supposed to be like slightly above what the current plan is. So if you're doing like a calorie deficit and you're eating, just for an example, 1,800 calories a day, and let's say you do that for 2 to 4 weeks, and then you schedule a diet break for the next 2 weeks. If you're going from 1,800, you should be going to 2,200 calories each day, and that would be your diet break before returning back to your 1,800 calorie restriction. And the purpose of a diet break is to adapt your metabolism, because as your body adjusts to a calorie restriction, let's say you're on a cut for 8 weeks, 12 weeks, and for those 12 weeks you're eating the same amount of calories every day, well, each day your body's going to learn how to not burn as much calories, because it's becoming aware of how many calories it's consuming. So if your typical amount of calories that you burn throughout the day, let's say your resting metabolic rate is 2,300, and then you go on a calorie deficit and you stay consistent with that calorie deficit, well, by the end of it, let's say a couple weeks later, your resting metabolic rate is no longer 2,300. Your body has now adapted because you're eating less calories than you normally do, and now your resting metabolic rate might be at 1,900. So if you're on an 1,800 calorie restriction, you still might be in a calorie deficit, but the deficit will not be as steep. It won't be as significant, so you'll lose weight slower. So the ways to combat this is to change your routine, increase your the frequency of physical activity, light walking, things of that nature, swimming, cardiovascular, staying active, using non-exercise activity thermogenesis, which is neat, just being fidgety, having something to do, and making sure that that doesn't decrease as a result of lowering your calories. Strategies. It's funny, like, just hearing myself talk about this stuff for the first time in what feels like a long time. It feels rather sobering. Feels pretty sobering. I haven't weighed myself yet. I probably should. If I had to guess, 202, which is 20 pounds heavier than my lightest weight in February. Gained 20 pounds in 3 weeks. Not proud of it. Not proud of it at all. I needed a break. I think that, I don't know what came first. I really don't, but I will outwardly admit that I am experiencing depression. And it's mainly related to feeling stuck in my current position. When I think about the life that I want to live, which is one of freedom, financial freedom, freedom in all aspects of life. Just if I have the impulse to walk outside and spend an entire 24 hours at the beach, or go skydiving. I consider myself a very spontaneous person, a very impulsive person. Most of my impulses are positive and don't really affect people in a negative way. In fact, that's a value of mine, a core value, is that I don't want what I do to affect people negatively. So when it comes down to it, my entire goal in life is to set myself up in a way where I can just be myself and make decisions that come naturally to me, in the spur of the moment. And I was feeling depression because the life that I'm living it feels so far away from that. The job that I have, it's not the job that I want. The workload is quite high, and I do appreciate the lifestyle that this job affords me. I make more money today than I ever have in my entire life, and with that money I'm allowed to treat myself in ways that I wouldn't normally be able to. However, what I'm realizing 3 weeks later is that the way I've been treating myself isn't really conducive to my goals anyway, in the sense of eating food, and not healthy food, not clean eating, just going to restaurants. The big thing that I've been doing the past 3 weeks, I feel like I've had more pancakes in the past 3 weeks than I had all of 2022. I don't know how accurate that is, but that's what it feels like. A lot of pancakes, a lot of donuts. Just really going back to my old ways. And like I said, I don't know what happened first, if it was the chicken or the egg. But pretty much at around the same time, I started eating more, and I also felt stuck. Like I was just in a rut, and I didn't really feel a lot of fluidity or mobility with my situation. Granted, I understand that I am building something so far as a personal brand and a business, with the intention of setting up myself to be self-employed in the future. And I don't know why I stopped. Probably because of my workload. And I just found that it was getting too difficult to manage my day job's responsibilities and still make time for my creative work. And so I stopped one and started eating, gained 20 pounds, and now we're here. Yeah, now we're here. Doesn't feel like the apex of all alphas talking right now. Feels like an individual who is struggling, an individual who is working on climbing out of a hole that he himself has dug for him. And I'm okay with that. Like I said, this is the best I felt for the past 3 weeks. Last week I had a stomach virus. High fever, shivers, body aches. Lasted for about 5, 6, maybe even 7 days. But I feel healthy now. Haven't gone to the gym for like 7 days. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's always fun taking a week off of working out, because those first couple of workouts, it's like, it feels like it's brand new again, shaking the rust off, and how quickly your body responds again to the physical stimulation of exercise. It's refreshing. And I'm also very certain that starting that practice up again is going to be good for my mental health as well. The thought that I was having last night as I was falling asleep is, I think I am overthinking this whole thing, and I'm allowing myself to get overwhelmed with the process or the situation. And if I were to just outline the situation as simply as I could, the status of my life right now. I'm currently 31 years old. I have a day job that pays me on a salary basis, or that I get paid salary, $90K. I haven't proven to myself that I could condense my workload to a 40-hour week. I haven't proven that to myself yet. Instead, what I typically do is see the amount of work that I have to complete, get overwhelmed by it, get depressed about it because it's so much work and none of it excites me. None of it makes me look forward to doing it. In fact, I'd rather stay in bed than hop on my laptop and get to work in the morning. There's no incentive, there's no desire, there's no motivation to excel at this job. There's none. Going on about the situation, I have a son, and my son, there are certain obligations associated with my son that I am motivated to meet. If a weekend goes by and I don't see him, I feel weird. Got some kind of car playing in the background. What else? We have a girlfriend that has expressed aspirations or desires to have another child, with me being the preferred father. That has its own kind of level of stress. What else? I have a issue with food. I think it's just the constant rebelling against restriction. Yeah, so if I were to play therapist right now, I would say that this whole issue with food is a direct response to feeling restricted in other aspects of my life. So I might be trying to do too many things at once, feeling stuck in a job that I don't see a future in, yet still have to complete tasks, a numerous amount of tasks every day in order to do my job well and get paid. So like that's one restriction. Then so far as like my romantic relationship is concerned, feeling somewhat constrained in there in relation to seeing a set future that wasn't necessarily what I had in mind for myself when I first came to LA. And what I mean by that is, I got to LA and I figured it's not that I figured, I was open to meeting someone. I was optimistic about meeting someone that I would want to spend a lot of my time with. And I understood that, like, if I were to have kids, it would be at a later date in my life after I've already set myself up as a successful individual who is wealthy. One thing I've always told myself is that I wouldn't really want kids until I'm making 7 figures or more. That's $1 million. And that's the time when I would be willing to have the conversation with a partner about having children. Until that time, I see children as a drain on my finances and an inconvenience to my lifestyle. Now, I already have one child with a woman that I didn't know that well. I took it for granted that she was making the appropriate preventative measures so far as contraceptives were concerned, and in my youthful naivety, I believed that I could not get her pregnant, and that was a mistake on my part. And now my life is forever changed, and I don't want that to happen again. So I try to think more strategically now, which is something I should have been doing prior. So yeah, feeling stuck. And the food was just, I guess it was just rebellion against the feeling of being stuck, not having as much mobility as I would like. Now that I'm on the other end of being sick for a week and simply not being able to work out due to that fact, I feel more optimistic about my circumstances. As little fluidity as I might have been perceiving, I'm still able to acknowledge that there is movement that I can make. I can make moves. I can move forward. I can allot time to do this, edit my videos, post more videos, promote my health and wellness consulting service, promote it to myself, live that lifestyle. I don't even know how long I'll have this job at this point, because I'm identifying this job as being as much money as it provides me. It's such a time suck, and I just don't want to spend much more time devoting to this thing that gives me no joy whatsoever. It truly feels like work. And then at the same time, I ask myself, am I just bitching? Am I just resorting back to my spoiled ways? And why can't I just look at it differently? Why can't I just change my perspective and understand that this job affords me certain things that I actually need, and just nut up and shut up? Sink the time in, and if I were to count all the hours I spend each day, each week, bitching and moaning about having to do this job, if I were to take those hours and apply it to actually getting the work done, I think I would have enough time. It's a mentality. It's a matter of perspective, and it's something I really need to work on. Period. I want to slow things down. I want to operate on a smaller deficit. I want to get in shape slowly. I want the cheeks to hollow out over the next 3 to 4 months. I don't want to do anything fast anymore. I want to chug along like the little engine that could. I want longevity as opposed to a fast sprint. I think I'm more equipped for that. With that being said, let's keep chugging.